Okay, so we want to solve this quadratic, and the first thing that you should do, which is true for any single quadratic, is make sure that it equals 0. So in order to do that, I need to make this 0. So I'm going to take away 1, and then I have to do it to the other side, right? So my quadratic is x squared minus 2x minus 4 equals 0. And I could try to factor that, but I want to focus on completing the square today. And so that means that I need to make a square, right? Squares have 2 equal sides, so one has to have an x and an x because I only have 1x squared. And negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. So that's a negative 1x, a negative 1x. So far it matches my equation perfectly. And then this would have to be, in order for it to be a square, negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. Oh, so I had negative 4 over here. So in order to have this exist, I would need a negative 1, right? Because those would cancel. Plus that extra negative 4 that I started with, I've really got negative 5 ones hanging out. So my quadratic equation written in vertex form is x minus 1 squared, because I've got 2 sides that are both x minus 1, minus 5 ones hanging out outside, equals 0, because it still equals 0 from there. So then this equation, you want to do the simplest step first. You want to add 5, kind of work your way from the outside in. So then my equation is x minus 1 squared, these would cancel, equals 5. And then because this is squared, I want to get rid of that. The opposite of squaring is taking the square root. So then that would completely cancel out the squared, so I would just have x minus 1. And the square root of 5 is a decimal. It's an irrational number. So you could use a calculator and figure out what that answer is rounded, but I'd rather just leave it in exact form. And then the other thing that you have to remember, whenever you take the square root of any single number except for 0, you have 2 answers. You have a positive square root and you have the negative square root. The last step to getting x by itself and finding my solution is, in this case, adding 1 to both sides. So x equals the square root of 5 plus 1. X equals the negative square root of 5 plus 1.